This is going to be a long one. Hello gorgeous, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. If you are new, it would mean so much if you guys hit that subscribe button to join my family. We are getting so close to 900,000, which is crazy. If you guys hit the subscribe button, I won't be mad. You guys wanted to see this video and I'm finally bringing it to you guys, and that is all about the story of my toxic ex-best friend. So I've been doing a ton of story times, as you guys know, and a lot of them are like my dating fails and exposing my horrendous dating life that I had in the past, which are really funny to look back at now because obviously I'm not in that mindset anymore. Just didn't work out, thankfully. I will link my playlist down below for you guys to check out. This was a little bit harder for me because I hold friends dear to my heart. I'm a loyal girl and a loyal friend, and I will do everything for my friends. I've never been someone that had a lot of friends, so the friends that I have, I hold dear to my heart. I feel like toxic friends or relationships in general is something that a lot of us have to go through even more than once in our life, and it's something that's very common, and I feel like could maybe help you guys out. And I hope that this me opening up and telling you about this story can help any of you if you're dealing with the same thing, or if you don't even realize you're dealing with the same thing, because this kind of stuff I feel like is not okay, and I feel like you should always have people around you that surround you, that uplift you and want the best for you. You shouldn't have people in your life that don't want the best for you or talk down upon you or make you feel like you're a piece of garbage, because that is definitely how I felt. Thumbs up if you want more stories. Let me know if you have similar stories or what any of your stories are down below. I love talking to you guys, and if you ever want to follow me on Instagram at NicolettaXOYT, you can totally talk to me on there. This one's gonna be a really long one, so grab a snack, grab a drink. Let's get into it. I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna throw this back to university. I went to university in Toronto, and that is where I met this person, which, what shall we call her? Let's call her Sarah. I'm sorry if anyone's named Sarah out there, but we're gonna call her Sarah from here on out. That is not her name, obviously, but just to keep her privacy, we're gonna call her Sarah. Sarah and I met when we both had the same elective first year, first semester, and I met her and we kind of clicked right off the bat. She came up to me, we sat together and we talked, and we really hit it off, and we found we had so many similarities, so I thought, and she was really funny and just really nice. And she comes off like that from the start, especially from people I've talked to. She definitely comes off very funny and just like a really good friend and will do anything for you, kind of like a ride or die friend, and so I thought. So once we met, we ended up finding out that we actually lived super close to each other, and she was from the exact same town that I grew up from. So I was super excited about that because not only did I meet someone from university, but we lived so close to each other, so we could totally hang out all the time. And that is what happened. We would hang out when we didn't have class together, we would get lunches together, dinners, and we would hang out outside of school, and it was just super fun, and I was so excited to meet this girl that I thought was going to be honestly my best friend for a very long time. And at first, she came off really nice, that she like really cared about you, and that she was really loyal, and she would stick up for her friends and do anything for her friends. A lot of you guys may know by the videos I have done, I hated my high school experience. I was bullied by a bunch of girls that started a lot of rumors about me who didn't even know me. We've never spoken to each other, so it was just a horrible time. It was the worst 4 years, I feel like, of my life. I never wanted to go to school. I hated it. So like I said, you guys know I had a horrible high school experience, and there was a group of girls that honestly just like couldn't stand me and made my life a living hell, essentially. I still had these girls on Facebook from high school. I started to go out in university. I met a lot of friends, and I would go out to the clubs in Toronto. You know, when you turn 19, you're legal here in Toronto to go to the clubs and have fun, and that's what I would do. I would have so many girls' nights and just live my best life. And I went out one night with my best friend Jessica, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about. I post her all the time on my Instagram, and I also she's been in my story times because that girl has been through a lot with me. Honestly, my university life would have not been the same without my girl Jessica. Jessica. We would like, you know, have fun and do like girls' night and take pictures and post on Instagram and Facebook. But one day I went onto my Facebook and I saw these girls on my feed basically post a photo of them, and it was like mocking me and my best friend Jessica. And this is now university time. They don't even know Jessica. High school was done and I didn't even think about them. And when I saw that, I was disgusted. So they pretty much imitated this pose of me and Jessica, and it was like this silly pose we used to do all the time, and it was just so obvious. And then their caption was mocking me and her. So it was like a really rude caption. My friend Sarah at the time, she knew about that because we lived in our town together. So she had a couple of them on her Facebook and she went off. She literally called them out and was going off and telling them that's disgusting, take that down, you're pathetic. I never had someone really stand up for me in high school. It was always myself defending me, and I always wished I had a friend that would stick up for me for once, because it was honestly really hard for me. It was nice to just have someone to stick up for me for once. This girl really, like Hairspeed, no one has ever stuck up for me against those girls, and that made me so happy. And they ended up taking it down, and then I think like we blocked each other, and that was that. And thank God, because I don't really care what the heck those girls do with their lives. Thank you, next. That whole thing went on, and Sarah snipped it in the butt real quick and got rid of that situation, and I was so thankful. And we just started to become friends closer and closer. When we started to become closer, and I feel like when I think she knew that she had me and manipulated me and made me think that she would do anything for me kind of thing, that is when the things kind of started to shift and turn, and I really started to see her true personality. And I was not a fan of her true personality anymore. We started to hang out all the time. She would call me on the phone all the time, like every single day. And it started to turn to the Sarah show. How Sarah's feeling, what's going on in her life, what boy likes Sarah, who she doesn't like. Basically everything that you could think about, it was the Sarah show, and she wouldn't even ask me one time what I was doing or how I felt or what was going on with me. It was always about Sarah and what's going on in her little bubble in her head. I love when my friends personally come to me and talk to me about things. I will totally be there for them. But it was just the way she was, and talking about the same thing for hours and hours, and a lot of it was like very superficial and weird to me. She would always talk about her looks and how good looking she was and how much better looking she was than another girl or person. I thought that was disgusting, and that was just rude. And there was one time that I was dating my ex at the time. This was my first boyfriend, and she pretty much saw him at the gas station one night. She never met him, but she knew that I was dating, and she's heard of him through other friends. Like I said, we were from the same town, so I feel like everyone knows of everyone. And so she just filled her gas and then left. That exact time, my ex called me and was like, oh, I think I saw Sarah and filling up the gas and blah blah blah, and that's it. And he's like, okay, anyways, I'm going home, like, what's up? And then he just started talking to me like normal, how are you, and all that stuff. Later that night, I get a phone call from Sarah, and Sarah's like, oh my gosh, guess who I saw at the gas station? We'll call him Leo for now. So she's like, I saw Leo. She pretty much said he was totally checking her out. He was looking her up and down and thought she was good looking and trying to shove that in my face, I guess, even though she knew we were dating, and that didn't even happen. They didn't even exchange any words, nothing. He just knew of her because of me. And at that point, he also knew that I was kind of feeling weird about how she was being. So it was so funny because she came back with this whole new story that he was like checking her out and like hitting on her. And who says that? Like, you're supposed to be my best friend and you're telling me that my boyfriend at the time is checking you out. Great. But anyways, that was some small incidents, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm over it. Then I started to see other things. She would ask people, who do you think's better looking, to the same people we knew. So she'd ask, do you think I'm better looking than Nicoletta? And I thought that was so weird. We're supposed to be best friends. Why do you care what guys think about who's better looking? That wouldn't even be a question that crosses my mind. And there was this one time that she actually met this guy from our school, and she became obsessed with him. She thought he was so good looking, and all she would talk about is this guy. He didn't want to be with her. He ended up dating another girl, but that would not stop her. He was in the same class as me and her, so she tried so hard to get him to like her. She would try to bump into him, but she really knew where he was gonna be, and she'd like show up there for him to see her, and she'd really try so hard, and he was just not interested and ended up dating someone else and didn't want anything to do with her. But she could not stop talking about the guy and wouldn't stop creeping him, and it was a lot. And I know even my friends from my program have met Sarah, and they've even heard of this guy that she was obsessed with, and they know all about her and how she's a lot, pretty much, to say the least. And they didn't even get as close to her. She ended up meeting her boyfriend, which she had for a while after they dated. And basically what happened is her best friend from when they were young, they literally were friends, I think, from the beginning of elementary school. So they knew each other at this point for so long. And her best friend from elementary school met her boyfriend as well from Sarah's current boyfriend. And I just remember one time it was me, Sarah, her boyfriend, and his best friend chilling at like getting lunch together before we had class. And I remember Sarah's just like, her best friend's boyfriend, she would say he rated her a 6 and said I was a 10. Why would you even say that? A lot of the stories she would say were so fake, and you just knew it. She would always need to pump herself up to be like this supermodel, best looking girl in the world, and she always wanted the attention on her. And I thought that was so disrespectful. And there were other times she also talked about her so-called best friend that she knew like almost her whole life, and she would talk crap about her looks and just things about her. And at that point I knew you're supposed to be best friends with this person, and I met that girl and she was such a nice girl. And I do know that they're actually not currently friends anymore. So they were friends for like 20 years and they stopped that friendship. There's a lot of little details, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of details, and I'm sorry if this is rambly. I didn't write anything down, but you know, I just wanted to say the story how I remember it now and not have it like all planned out. So those are just like little things I remember. There were so many other things. I know I called my best friend Nilu from back home, and we met each other in high school, and I remember telling her and venting to her all the time because I couldn't take it anymore. It was like really exhausting and starting to be too much for me, and I wanted to start to separate myself from her. And that is kind of what I did. I started to separate myself. There were a couple times more. So I ended up going to her birthday party with my best friend Jessica, and at this point she started dating that guy that I told you about, her boyfriend. And he couldn't come to her birthday because he had a tournament to go to. So he was really sad that he had to miss it. So he celebrated it with her the weekend before. And then the day of her party, we all went out with a bunch of people. I caught her cheating on her boyfriend with this guy at the club. And I remember calling her out the next day. And she's like, no, I didn't do that. I don't remember nothing. She definitely knew what she was doing. I just knew that guy was such a good guy, and I just couldn't be friends with someone like that. Like, she really would use people, and they would do so much for her, and she would treat them like crap. She would lie even about her exes. She would say they were obsessed with her and they would cry over her and still wanted to be with her, and then I would find out that was far from the truth, and they actually were the ones that broke up with her. And there was just a lot of lying and manipulation, and I feel like she was just honestly really full of herself and just not really a good person, and just really cared about what she could get out of something or out of a friendship or relationship. I just remember separating myself from her, and I'm so thankful that I did. So I just started seeing her less and less and saying, you know, I'm busy with school, and we kind of just parted ways, and that was it. I felt like it was like a tornado, our friendship. It was short-lived. I think we were friends for like a good year and a half or so, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. And that happened a lot to her in university. So she would meet a friend that she became so close to and would call her best friend, and then the next year all of a sudden you'd see her with a whole different girl, and she's not friends with that girl anymore. And I was the starting of that little pattern. I was like her best friend for the first year, and then we kind of separated. Then she became friends with another girl second year, and they were super close. And then in third year she had another girl that they were so close with, and then they stopped being friends. And then in fourth year she'd meet another girl that she was like obsessed with and going out with all the time, and she called each other best friends. And then after that she didn't stay friends with any of us. So every year she had a new best friend, and to this day she didn't stay friends with one of us. So that has got to tell you something. At first, she really reeled me in and made me think that she's such a good friend and that she's there for me and she listens to me and she stuck up for me and she's funny. And then I think when she like had me already as a friend and knew that I would stick with her, then she started to like show her true personality, and then she started to make me feel the biggest scum on earth and that I was ugly, I needed to lose weight. That was something else. She was like really obsessed with weight and thought that you weren't good looking unless you were really skinny and tall. So she would make me feel like I'm disgusting and that pretty much I couldn't do anything and that I was never gonna be anything or be as good as her. And I remember I started feeling really insecure with myself. I felt really ugly. I felt like I needed to be skinnier and that I needed to be this person that I never wanted to be, and she was starting to make me feel like that. And then I realized I don't want that in my life, and I actually became closer and closer with my best friend now, Jessica. And honestly, I'm so thankful for her because her and I have always been really supportive to each other. We honestly always want the best for each other. And I realized like that is what a proper friendship is. It's not someone that's going to tear you down and make you feel like you are garbage and you have nothing going for you and you can't do anything because of someone else's insecurity that they're putting onto you. And there were other things as well. She would really try to like peer pressure me into doing bad things in university, and that was just not me. And I would always have to tell her, no, I'm not doing that. That's against my morals. Like, I'm not gonna be like that. And she would pressure me and pressure me and pressure me. If you're a baby, you should do this, do it with me. She was pressuring me to do stuff I didn't want to do that was just not good and I don't stand by, and that is just not me. I was like so happy once I got her out of my life because it just felt so much better. You definitely can notice a difference in your life when you're surrounding yourself with people that genuinely care about you and aren't trying to put you down. If you have a friend or any sort of relationship where they put you down, they make you feel like you're not good enough, you're never gonna have anything in your life. If they make you feel like the best thing you have in their life is them, then that is someone that you don't need to surround yourself with. If someone's making you feel just disgusting inside and making you feel insecure with yourself, that is a sign that definitely you should not be with someone. You should always be with someone that's going to uplift you. If you have a friend that's just jealous of you, if you get something that they don't, or you accomplish something and they didn't, and they're upset about that, that's the time to cut those people off, because you should always want the best for people in your life. I know for myself, when I have a friend and she accomplishes stuff or something good happens to them, it makes me inside so happy because I just think, if I'm friends with you, I want the best for you. I don't care if I don't have it and you have it, I'll be so happy for you because that is what I want. I want the best for anyone in my life. I'm not going to want the worst for them. Why would I want the worst for someone I care about? It just doesn't make sense to me, and that is definitely a true indicator that someone is just not good for your life and they're toxic. I feel like jealousy is one of the worst traits. It's a trait that I feel like definitely is a red flag, is when you have a close friend or a best friend that gets jealous of certain things or want the worst for you. Those are the people that you need to cut out, and trust me, you'll feel so much better. I remember when she left my life, I felt instantly so much better, and I started surrounding myself with people that genuinely cared about me and that made me feel good, and I had the best rest of my experience in university, and I was so happy that we stopped being friends. She ended up unfollowing me on my socials and just didn't care anymore and moved on to the next better thing in her head, and there's that. That is my story on my toxic friendship, and I hope this could be useful because I know a lot of us go through toxic relationships in general or friendships, and it's something that happens to a lot of us, and it's okay to sometimes let go of a friend that's just not good for you or not mentally good for you as well. I feel like people come into your life as a lesson sometimes, or a reason, or just for a little time. I had a good time with her at the beginning of our friendship, and in the end it just didn't work out, and that happens in life. Not everything works out the way you want it to, and that is okay. It will just pave your path to the people that you are supposed to attract and have into your life. I know it's really hard to lose a close friend or someone that you consider a close friend, but I always truly believe that everything happens it's for a reason. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and they will somehow come back into your life. But if someone's just a toxic person, you don't want those people in the end of the day in your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Click the subscribe button to join my YouTube family. I upload every single week, and turn on the bell to be notified every single time I upload. Like I said, leave any of your stories down below. I would love to read it, or if you guys want to talk to me more, you can always send me a message on Instagram or follow me there. It's at NicolettaXOYT. I really appreciate it, and on that note, I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!